Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. If I can have your attention, I need to make an announcement. I'm Jean Culpepper, the director of tonight's play. The circumstances surrounding our production are a little unusual. You see, I was very flattered when Billy St. John, who wrote Murders in the Air, as you probably noticed in your program. Heir is spelled H-E-I-R. Murders in the Air. Get it? Okay, guess what? I was flattered when Mr. St. John contacted me and asked me to direct his play's premiere production. Actually, it was quite a work in progress. You see, he made several changes and rewrites throughout the rehearsal period. While it was very exciting to be part of creating a brand new work, to tell the truth, it put quite a strain on me, the playwright, and the cast. You got that right, quite, Jacob. Actors should be unseen and unheard until the curtain opens. He's a talker. Now, the cast and I are feeling quite nervous about tonight's production because, well, it isn't quite finished. Oh, don't worry. I see all the looks on your faces. And the show must go on, as Stephanie once said. I don't know who said it, but I've got to get my hands around his neck. You see, the play isn't quite finished. It's a murder mystery, and most of the characters have a great motive to kill someone. Well, you'll see who. You see, Mr. St. John couldn't make up his mind which of the characters should be the killer. In fact, he wrote several different endings in which the various characters were revealed to be the killer. As it got closer, and closer, and closer to opening night, the tension in the air, that's A-I-R, grew so thick that you can cut it with a knife. Mr. St. John had what I deem to be a temporary breakdown. You see, the reason he isn't here with us tonight is because he is currently under heavy sedation and is in a nice room, soft walls, and lots of padding. Some people overlook. But that brings me to my main point of my being up here, to announce how you are all going to have to help us. Now, if you look in your program, you'll see we've inserted a QR code to an electronic ballot of sorts. As you watch the first act, you will discover which of our characters have the motive to kill someone. And during intermission, we need you to vote on that electronic ballot which of the characters you think is the most likely suspect. And in the second act, we will perform the scene that Mr. St. John wrote, but the character you all voted upon as being the killer. At least, that's what we will hope will happen. It got very confusing during the rehearsals. It's a wonder we didn't kill the playwright. Hush! Look, we might as well just get started. You see, I saved myself a seat up in the front row where I can follow along in the script. Half the things get a little shaky, which you won't, but just in case. Are you ready, cast?
As ready as we're gonna be.
Then, let's do it, everyone. Places.
I'm sorry, Miss Withers, but you startled me. My apologies, but dare I say a slight stare will do no harm. However, a man in his 90s in Mr. Starkweather's condition could prove fatal. Remember that, girl. Yes, Miss Withers. I guess this terrible storm has had me a little edgy. It is quite a time here this evening. I presume all of the guests have been shown their bedrooms?
Yes, well, all but Mr. Starkweather's grandson, Mr. Simon III. It's a long drive from his college in this terrible storm,
You know, yeah, I do hope we can start without him. It's already past Mr. Starkweather's bedtime, and he must have his sleep.
I can assure you, Miss Withers, the house is spotlessly clean.
I certainly hope so. Mr. Starkweather's asthmatic condition makes the merest most dust potentially lethal.
I served as Mr. Starkweather's housekeeper for many years before you came along, Miss Withers. I don't need you to tell me how to do my job. You brought the coffee? It's right here on the table, Mrs. Trent. Then go back to the kitchen and help Minerva with the rest of the refreshments.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Starkweather gave specific instructions that he wished to have everyone present in the drawing room at 8 o'clock sharp. I'll ask them to press the rest of the desks from their rooms.
Mr. Starkweather will be ready. I'm coming, Mr. Starkweather!
As I told you, oh, why waste my breath? You're dripping water all over the floor here. How many times have I told you that servants enter through the back door and not the front door?
Well, I reckon I forgot this, Spencer. It's raining down there.
I know that, and now thanks to you, it looks as if it's been raining in here.
You are very dumb.
Go maneuver yourself out the way you came. Do you think you can manage that?
Well, I don't know, but suppose we're going to find out.
When the final guest arrives, I expect you to go park his car for it. Do you think you can manage that?
Yeah, follow me, and I'll sit by the sofa and see if I can grow some deal.
Do not be impertinent.
How can I be if I don't know what it means?
So, that man is an idiot.
Hey, I heard that.
Where shall I place this one, Minerva? On the coffee table. Careful with it. Yes, ma'am. I think everything is ready. You think? Wrong! Place the cups on the saucers, so all we'll have to do is pour the coffee.
Yes, Minerva. Everyone shall be coming down in a moment. Mr. Starkweather has wished me to inform you that he wishes for the servants to attend as well.
He wants the servants here?
Yes, you can prove this. If I'd known that fact sooner, I would have gone and warned him to go take a bath. But I guess since he's been working hard out in the rain all day, that may help.
If you ask me, Noah's flood wouldn't help.
Be that as it may, I shall go summon Mr. Starkweather and tell him everything's almost ready.
Why would Mr. Starkweather want us servants to be here?
Oh, I'll pull out my crystal ball and let you know. Nancy, do you remember what I told you when you first came to work here?
Yes, ma'am. You're told to ask questions.
Exactly. Stick to that.
Yes, Minerva. Oh, Jordan, I just never know what to wear on a special occasion. But I suppose Uncle Simon inviting us all the way out here is a special occasion in itself, don't you think?
I guess so, Mother. Considering the fact that most of the time, Grandpa Simon treats us like lepers.
You think Uncle Simon treats us like jungle cats?
Not lepers, Mother. Lepers.
What's the difference?
Forget it. You look fine, Mother.
Thank you, son.
I'll tell you something, Mother. If we
ever inherit this mausoleum, you know what I'll do? I'm gonna call that Adam's family and let them know about the market.
Counting chickens, are we?
Minerva, we didn't see you there. And you're attractive. Let's help her.
Nancy is a nice girl, and I mean for her to stay that way.
I'm sure I don't know what you mean.
I doubt that.
I don't understand.
And I believe that. Why don't you have a seat over there? We'll bring you some coffee.
Coffee? Oh, that sounds lovely. It sure is damp in here.
That's because there's a lot damp out there. How do you take it?
Oh, Mother likes her black, but you know what? I like my sweet. I'll flavor it myself.
Whatever.
Ooh, what lovely appetizers.
Glad you like them.
Delicious.
You're looking very pretty, Nancy.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, that must be the old great Uncle Simon. Please, call me Jordan.
She'll call you Mr. Starkweather, the way a proper maid should. If anyone is calling you by another name, it'll be me. And you don't want to know which one I'm thinking.
Oh, Minerva. Never came.
You. More's the pity. Now go have a seat by your mother.
Yes, Drill Sergeant.
Oh, why, Kathy? I don't see how y'all can stand out here living in the booty with one of the fine restaurants, the shopping centers, the movie theaters. Ma, if I were you, I'd just sit down and wait.
It's not that bad, Mama. I stay here during the week and go to my apartment in town most weekends.
Well, I'm so relieved to hear that.
I used to work for a large corporation before Mrs. Starkweather hired me as his personal secretary. Believe me, this job is much nicer.
Look what we have here. 2 rays of sunshine to dispel the gloom. You look beautiful, ladies.
Oh, my Jordan, you are a rogue and a charm.
Well, I do my best. Won't you join us?
Why don't you have a seat over there? You'll be safer. We'll bring you some coffee.
Thanks, Minerva. I think mine left.
Oh, well, cream and sugar for me, please. Sugar. Sugar, well, I must admit, I have been wrong as a kid. Maybe that's what causes that foreign sort of accent. Oh, my cousin Fiona, how are you doing this evening? Me? Oh, I'm doing just lovely. Thank you, Paula. Well, that's just peachy. I swear, the only time we ever see each other is for somebody's funeral.
Well, aren't all funerals for some bodies?
Oh, my, don't be so morbid, cousin Jordan. I'm glad this week is an exception to the occasion. For once, no one is dead.
So far. Anyway,
Oh, that's all right, sweetheart. You didn't spill any?
What did you mean by that remark, Jordan?
oh, nothing. It's just that when you called to say that you wanted Mother and I to come down to the Starkweather Mansion for the weekend, I assumed my Uncle Simon had died.
You wish. I started to pack my new black dress.
It was a natural assumption, of course. I mean, he is giving up engines pretty bad. I was so glad to find the old boy still at it.
Yeah, so, Kathy, you must know why we're here this property. Go on, tell.
It's been planned to go into the party regularly, but I believe Mrs. Starkweather would like to discuss his will.
Really?
Yes. I'd appreciate it if you didn't pull on my own nerves.
You misjudged me, Minerva. I was interested. That's all.
Where's Cousin Simon? Should he be here by now?
When I contacted him last week, he said he's going to make it. Apparently, he's going to be late. If he's tried to call here tonight, he wouldn't be able to get through. The phone line was
Well, if you talk about Bill, Cousin Simon should be here. He is great Uncle Simon, only grandson.
Yeah. and he'll probably get everything.
Excuse me a minute. I thought that the family dynamics were a little bit awkward. I suggested to Mr. St. John that he should explain it further. He agreed. He was going to write essays that explained everything. He was in the middle of writing it when he sort of, well, you know, snapped like a rubber band. So I'll just explain it. But I believe the family tree may be in your program, but here's how it works. Simon Starkweather, the old billionaire, whom you meet shortly, married late in life, produced one son, Simon Jr. Simon Jr., in turn, married and produced one heir, Simon III. The original Mrs. Starkweather, Simon Jr., and his wife are now deceased. Old Simon's eldest brother, Paul, had a wife, Bella, who married Lucian Thompson, an Atlanta businessman, and they produced Paula. Here, Paul, his wife, and Bella are now deceased. Old Simon's youngest brother, John, married and produced a son, Ezra, who married Fiona. Here, and they produced the Gremlin, Menace to Society, Jordan. But you already know that already. Now, John, his wife, and Ezra are now deceased. Now, I know, that is a lot of dead people. But if they had been included in this play too, it would have looked like a marching band had wandered into the living room. Believe me, it was hard enough moving everyone about this stage as it was. Now, Old Simon's Fiona's uncle by marriage. So that makes Paula, Jordan, and young Simon cousins? Second or third cousins? I'm not really sure how all that works, but I hope I cleared things up for you. Carry on.
Hey, Gene, no need to bother, but we don't have the foggiest idea where we are.
I don't even know what anymore! Oh yes. Resume with Zach and the mayor's entrance fund. Charlie.
What?
Give them their entrance cue.
What is it?
They'll probably get everything.
Who will?
Your cousin Simon.
Got it. Yeah, he'll probably fix everything.
I'm very pleased with your investigation, Mr. Davis. I'll be sure to recommend you to my other clients.
Just doing my job, Miss Monson.
Good evening, everyone.
I know we haven't met yet, but I've got a pretty good idea you all might be. Mrs. Stockley and her son Jordan, right?
That's right, Mr.
Davis. Call me Mike.
Based on what Miss Van Zandt just said, I assume you're some sort of investigator?
You got it, pal. The private time.
I see.
Jordan, who is this nice young man?
He's a detective, Mother.
A detective? Oh, how exciting. Do you know Jessica Fletcher?
No, ma'am. She is way out of my league. I do know who you two ladies must be, though.
Well, if you're a private investigator, I'd be surprised if you didn't.
That accent settles it. You're Paula Thompson.
And you're 100% correct. I can't deny from the deep south.
If you came from any deeper south, you'd live in Central America.
Keep your opinions to yourself.
So, that leaves you and Kathy Collins. It's nice to finally meet you in person.
Nice to meet you too, Mike. Mike and I have quite a
Is this seat taken? I'll park it here.
And I expect you to remain unobtrusive.
Ah, sure I will. As soon as I find the dictionary, we'll get out.
Sit over there by the fire.
Oh, by the fire? Glad to. My backside's still kind of soggy.
Keep an eye on him.
I shall do my best. If all is in readiness, I shall go inform Mr. Starkweather.
Yes, thank you, Bensingers. There's still coffee if anyone else cares for some.
I could use some, Minerva.
How do you take it?
In a cup.
Black, please.
We're here with your truck on your own Simon Quill. Is that right?
That is correct. Frankly, I didn't think it was a good idea. Mr. Starkweather's health is precarious at best, and he doesn't need the excitement. I advised him to communicate with you all through mail, but he insisted on summoning you all to Starkweather Mansion. I only hope he doesn't live to regret that decision.
Miss Withers is bringing down Mr. Starkweather now.
Here you are, Mr. Starkweather.
Come, come.
I'll be right here if you need anything.
Once think I was surrounded by kings and presidents. As my world shrunk into this, a handful of relatives and a few staff of hired help. Simon, where's my grandson?
We assume he's on his way, Mrs. Starkweather.
Can't wait for him. Ain't much time anymore.
Well, good evening, Grandpa Simon. You're looking, well,
Are you blind, boy, or a habitual liar?
I was only making pleasantries, Uncle.
Jordan, you've always been a slow brother, but that doesn't break any ice with me. Why? You're a greedy opportunist. I ought to know. I was one at your age.
I guess it runs in the family.
You got a point. Well, Fiona, you look the same.
I do? Oh, thank you, Uncle Simon. I do try my best. Margaret, Simon, you are awful.
With my age and with my money, I can say and think what I want. And I do. Anyways, how's my little Georgia Peaches?
Well, I'm just peachy, Uncle.
I make bar.
Would you care for some coffee, Mr. Starkweather?
He mustn't have any. The caffeine could keep him awake, and it could affect his blood pressure. The medication runs a little high.
I'm sorry, but I won't be having one. My teacher says.
Yes, sir.
Well, the doctors say I don't have much longer to be trapped inside this old body. But there's one thing I hate to leave behind. My money.
Well, you know what they say, Uncle. You can't take it with you.
Yeah, that's what they say. So several years ago, me and Lois conducted up a will. Now, you're probably wondering how I provided for my heirs.
Well, I admit, I'm just a teensy bit curious.
A teensy bit, eh?
Whatever. Breathe deeply. See what you've done? Me? I didn't.
Should somebody call an ambulance?
We can't. The phones are dead.
No need. He just lost his breath. Just need to be pure oxygen for a few moments.
Tell them, Lois.
Very well. This is the will Mr. Starkweather was referring to. As you all know, he has been a very successful businessman for many years.
I'll say. He's been on the cover of Forbes magazine at least a dozen times.
Never read it.
You can read?
He has the distinction of becoming one of the world's first billionaires.
20 years ago, I begged dear Ezra to take business investment advice from Uncle Simon, but
Oh, Mr. Starkweather, I had no idea.
The rest of the will divides the rest of the money equally to surviving relatives. They are Simon the third, his grandson, Fiona, his niece, and her son Jordan, who will share 1/3, and his great niece, Paula Thompson.
Oh, isn't that just nice, Jordan?
Well, thank you so much, Uncle.
Well, I know you were back from a very southern boy. You must agree on one thing. Blood is thicker than water.
I bet Miss Willis can tell you this.
I have another announcement to make. As of tomorrow, this will becomes invalid.
Wait, I got a question. What does invalid mean?
It means no good.
Oh. Well, I got a brother that's valid.
Miss Van Zandt just said we're not getting any of the money. You fool!
Oh. Well, looks like I won't be buying that big screen TV out after all.
Sit. You too, Lois. Sit.
Why'd you decide this inheritance, Uncle?
I found a better use for my money. Oh, don't worry. Each of you will get $50,000 each.
I'm sorry, did you say 50,000 out of 50 billion?
Well, Lois did advise me to leave you at least a little something, so that way you wouldn't contest my new will.
You will.
That's why I invited Kathy over to Starkweather Mansion to type it up nice and legally for my signature. Mr. Davis will serve as a disinterested party, and Lois will file it come Monday.
Davis said he's a detective. What did you hire him to do?
Mr. Starkweather hired me to conduct an investigation on the quiet. For the last 6 months, I've flown to a dozen or more foreign countries, checking out some of the world's most brilliant scientists. Some well-known, others who prefer to keep themselves hush-hush. I succeeded in finding one in Belgium. Let's call him Dr. X, who agreed to help Mr. Starkweather do what he desires, which is to clone himself.
What? That's insane!
What nonsense! You must be kidding.
It's immoral.
I don't understand.
That's good. Glad I'm not the only one.
Those blood and skin samples you had me prepare? The ones you said were going to be examined by specialists?
They were specialists in DNA.
I thought you were trying to find a cure.
I wasn't trying to find a cure for my dying, but a cure for my fourth. And I will.
Cloning?
Precisely! Through modern science, I shall live forever!
It's not right.
It's neither here nor there. Let the moralists and politicians debate that for many years to come. You're probably not debating about the moral question, but the sizable change in your fortune. Well, too bad. Cloning is a very expensive process, and the one I require must be done in absolute secrecy. Professor X, as Mr. Davis described it, will be creating that brand new me and will inherit a sizable fortune. And I will become the first person to become their own heir.
Yes, Mr. Starkweather. If you'll excuse us, I must go take Mr. Starkweather's blood pressure.
Why can't you just take it here?
Mr. Starkweather's arms are too frail for me to get a reading. This is an outsized cuff made to go around a patient's thigh. He can withstand the pressure better there. He has had enough excitement for one evening. I must put him to bed.
Well, unless anyone has any questions, our little meeting is concluded. Me and Kathy have to go over the new will.
Oh, wait, I got a question. What the heck was all that about?
It's so simple, Rufus. Right? Uncle Simon was gonna leave us all mind the last second and decided to clone himself.
Ah. Okay. It means to take some cells of a person's body and create a duplicate of the original.
Wait, I can do that? Oh, that's great. Maybe when the old Mr. Starkweather eventually croaks, I can get a job for the new one.
The new Mr. Starkweather will have to be born and grow up. It goes against the laws of nature.
Do that.
How? It has all been arranged. Once Dr. X creates the cells, they will be implanted into the host mother, and she will carry the baby to term. Host mother who? Me. Why not? I'll be young and healthy. I'll be a good mother to little Simon.
How could you ever consider being part of this travesty?
I'll be well compensated. Besides, have any of you ever heard of anyone else giving birth to a baby billionaire?
So Uncle Simon is giving all of his money to a baby?
In a manner of speaking, yes. All of Mr. Starkweather's fortune will go into a trust fund, which I'll administer, of course. And then after that, ample funds will be available to pay Dr. X and his staff, and the rest will go to Kathy and the baby's care. Most of it will go to his education because he needs to be properly trained in high finance. And then once he's trained, all of the fortune will go to him.
The kid will look, think, and act like Simon Starkweather. He could conceivably parlay those billions into trillions by the time he's an old man.
But for what purpose? To leave all the money to a clone, then another and another? Where will it end? When this Simon Starkweather with the money and power to rule the world?
I mean, we didn't discuss it, but you might as well be right.
I can't believe you would condone such madness. Oh, I can see why she would. Miss Anziet and the Collins girl, who live like billionaires themselves off Mr. Starkweather's money. Money that should have gone to us and his family. Oh, and I guess you'll be getting rich too, since you're part of this scheme.
Not me. The job I was paid to do. My part's over. I'll take my very generous check and go home. Frankly, I don't care if the boss's science fiction experiment works or not.
You should be ashamed. You should all be ashamed.
Now, ladies, I believe we've made our feelings abundantly clear. How about you and all the other servants and I go to the kitchen and have a conversation with one another?
Hey, you know, that'd be kind of nice, get a little pitter-patter start to the people around the house.
Oh, shut up, Rufus!
Kathy and I really have to get to that new will.
Sure, Lois. The sooner it's finished and signed, the better.
Hold on. Why didn't anybody ask me volunteers, baby? I can do it as well as she can.
You're Mr. Starkweather's blood kin,
Paula, and it wouldn't be
proper.
well, I guess it would be kind of tacky.
Robert, you're about to conduct an experiment that makes Frankenstein look like an amateur, and you're worried about being proper?
Cool it, kid. Before you burst a blood vessel, Mr. Starkweather's already made up his mind. And I get the feeling whatever the old man wants, he gets.
Succinctly put, Mr. Didymus. Now, Kathy, finally.
I'll go upstairs and pack for the night. After I witness the signing of the new will, I won't have any reason to hang around. Night.
Grand Uncle Simon dangled a fortune above our noses, then snatched them away like nothing.
That's me.
Mean? The man is a monster. Did you see the look in his eye? He enjoyed pulling the rug right out from underneath our feet.
We have a rug.
Well, I guess he's leaving us 50,000.
To him, that's no more than a dime tossed to a beggar. And he's only doing it to keep us from breaking his new will.
Yeah, he is.
I wish the old goat would go and drop dead. Tonight!
And what served him right?
Wait a minute. So Uncle Simon did die tonight. That means we'll get all of our money. Wouldn't it? Would anyone care for a game of Uno?
A penny for your thoughts? I was not gonna afford a spare now.
Mr. Starkweather!
It's Jordan, remember? At least when Minerva, that dragon lady, isn't around.
I thought everyone had gone to bed.
Well, I was going to turn in, but I got an urge for a midnight snack.
Oh, I'll fix you something.
Oh, never mind. What are you doing now?
Mrs. Trent sent me in here to make sure the fire screen is properly closed so no sparks pop out onto the rug.
And burn the Starkweather mansion to the ground? Maybe that isn't such a bad idea.
You mustn't suggest such a thing. You know Mr. Starkweather's an invalid. How could
You read my mind.
Jordan!
That's me called by my first name.
You mustn't talk like that. It's wicked.
Well, why should that surprise you? Everyone knows I'm the black sheep in the family. Besides, Nancy, if it happened tonight, you have millions. And, I have millions, but, think of the good times we could have together. Don't! It's time to go. Admit it.
It's not. It's a horrible idea.
Which part? The money? Or you and me together?
The part about the money.
Well, what about us?
Nancy! I thought you were going to help me with the dishes!
I'm just checking the front doors, Minerva, to make sure they're locked.
I see. And what are you doing here?
Oh, me? Oh, I had an urge for a midnight snack and I came to and saw Nancy and I stopped for a chat. That's all.
That appetite of yours is going to get you in trouble one of these days.
Minerva, what are you doing with that knife?
Mincing onions.
At midnight.
I can't stand to have anyone see me cry. I thought I heard someone in here, so I came to check. If you're hungry, come with me. I'll find you something.
Yes, Minerva. Anything you say, Minerva.
Finish checking, then come give me a hand.
Yes, Minerva.
Come on!
Rufus!
chopping wood for the fire this afternoon, and I didn't put it back in the shed. I forgot. So, thought I might bring it in and dry it up before rusting.
That's fine, but why bring it into the living room? Anyways, go grab a towel from Mrs. Trent.
Lying wet. It quit raining.
I mean for the towel, for the axe.
Oh, yeah, right.
If that man had a brain, he would be dangerous.
A hard lad.
A penny for your thoughts?
Jordan! You startled me. What are you doing up this late?
Munchies. Want a cookie?
No, thank you.
Kathy,
Yes?
have you finished printing up that new will?
Yes, it's all ready except for Mr. Starkwood and their signature. I see you calmed down. Wouldn't be surprised if you hated me.
Why should I hate you? I'd make the same deal if I were in your shoes.
Of course you would, Jordan.
You know what? Minerva was right. Being the mother of little Simon would be the next best thing to owning millions yourself. But aren't you forgetting something?
What, Jordan?
Well, the little type will need a dad. Someone to guide him and mold him to the perfect replica of great Uncle Simon.
You think?
Oh, I know so. And who would be a better candidate than me? Come on, Kathy. We should mix business with pleasure.
Get your hands off of me!
What?
You're getting cookie crumbs all over me. By the way, Jordan, forget it. If I decide little Simon needs a father, I'll find one myself. I don't know who he'll be. There won't be some sleazy slime ball like you.
I might just kill you, you witch!
You wouldn't do that with a detective in the house, now would you?
Oh my God!
Are you finished it yet?
I must make everything all right.
Well, hurry up, girl. Minerva wants you in the kitchen.
Yes, Mrs. Trent. Don't dawdle. Yes, ma'am. Someone left the fetch doors open. I'll close them. Miss Thompson?
Oh, Mrs. Trent, you gave me a frog.
I suppose I should be thankful you didn't lose your head and strike me in the face with that treacherous weapon. What on earth are you doing roaming the house in the middle of the night with a slingshot in your hand? You could break something or cause serious injury to others, possibly kill somebody.
What is this? Oh, well, this is the pro at slingshot. See, it's a reactive sling. Would it hurt a lot? Think sweet as sugar. I couldn't sleep and thought I'd clean it. Got any oil?
Well, you're not going to find anything to clean it here unless you kind of rubbing it with Crisco. Do you often carry that thing with you?
Yeah, actually, I carry it everywhere I go. Well, Daddy taught me how to crack a shot when I was just 10. We entered the National Geographic Slingshot Challenge and won first place. You know, a girl can't be too careful, now can she?
Well, I don't think you have anything to worry about here at Clark's Brothers Mansion. It's miles away from the nearest town. No one ever comes out here.
Never had a burglary or a problem?
No.
Well, tell me this. So, with Great Uncle Simon being so sick and all, it's a wonder somebody had broken in and tried to fake something.
Or Stonehenge.
Well, as terrible as that sounds, I guess beyond that used to be a parlor. Am I right?
That is correct. When Mr. Starkweather became too ill to go up and down the stairs, the library was turned into a bedroom for him, and Miss Withers a parlor.
Interesting.
Excuse me a minute. That scene's dialogue was bad. I suggested to Mr. St. John that he should cut it, but he thought we needed to get a good understanding of the layout of Starkweather Mansion. He said, and I quote, "What do you want me to do? Put a blueprint of Starkweather Mansion in the program?" Which I thought was kind of rude. He insisted that I leave it in. And so I did. But I want you to all to know that it's that piece of writing. I, as a director, tried to correct it. Carry on, ladies.
I want you to know that if you do that again, you're going to have to bring that script back up on the stage and play Mrs. Trent yourself.
Carry on.
That was awesome. I wish I had your nerve. Where are we?
So you're curious about the layout of the house, are you?
Oh, why, yeah, I'm just curious.
Well, you know what they say. Curiosity killed the cat.
Yeah. Now, if you'll excuse me.
Wouldn't it be ironic if tonight or all night someone did break and adjust?
Mrs. Starkweather! Oh, Bensonhurst! Oh, you nearly frightened me to death. Look what you've done.
Oh, my apologies. Might I ask what pills you just sprung about the room?
It's digitalis. It's for my heart. I have a heart condition.
Ah, digitalis. Doesn't that speed up one's heart rate?
Yep. My little heart's just pumping away.
Then perhaps one dose should be sufficient. We wouldn't want an overdose now, would we?
Oh no, if I took too many, that would be fatal. Or extremely fatal. Or am I just being redundant? Well, fatal is fatal, just like dead is dead.
Ah, yes, one cannot be deader than another. Maybe dead longer, but that's all that comes to mind. Anyways, might I ask why you put these pills all over the living room?
Why? Oh, why did I bring the pills into the living room? I was going to find Miss Withers to see if she had any free samples of digitalis left. You know, with my heart condition and all, I wanted to get a refilled bottle.
But your bottle is already full.
I like to plan ahead.
Sure. Allow me to assist you.
I feel like a pigeon pecking popcorn.
You missed one by your left kneecap. Left kneecap?
Oh! They just rolling everywhere.
Round objects tend to do that, madam.
Oh, hi, Miss Withers.
Oh, Miss Starkweather. What are you doing on the floor with Bensonhurst?
Oh, nothing. Just picking up pills. That's all.
Oh. I assumed that Uncle Simon needed an injection or something. How is he?
Quite all right. His lungs seem somewhat congested, so I moved him from his wheelchair to his bed. He can breathe better at an upright position. And then I give him an injection of steroids to open up his bronchial passages.
Oh, you're so smart. Where would Uncle Simon be without you?
Dead.
Oh.
Without me, your uncle's heart would have stopped beating long ago. Speaking of medical expertise, did you have something you'd like to ask Miss Withers here?
Did I?
The digitalis?
Oh, right. Miss Withers, I was just wondering if you had any free samples of digitalis left. You see, I have a heart condition and I like to keep a handy supply.
I can see why. Yours tend to run out, don't they? But I'm sorry, Miss Starkweather. I'm all out of spare drugs. Your uncle needs every last one to keep him going.
Oh, Dear, well, we better pick mine up then. Do you mind helping?
I suppose.
Is this a private game, or can anybody play?
Oh, Mr. Davis, no, we're just picking up spill pills.
Is that it? I thought you were holding a tiny little marble tournament. I'll pass.
Well, let me give you these. I really must return my duties.
Thank you.
And here are mine as well.
Thank you so much. Thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Yeah, if you'll excuse me.
Miss Withers, how's the boss?
Bossy, he sent me out to get a pitcher of fresh drinking water. If I'm not back any minute, he's gonna start ringing that little bell. See what I mean? I'll be right there, Mr. Starkweather!
I gather he rings for you a lot.
Incessantly. When that bell stops ringing, I'll know he kicked the bucket. You'll excuse me?
Spoken like a true member of the medical profession. What's with the wrench, Bensonhurst? Got some kind of problem I can give you a hand with?
Oh, no, nonsense. In fact, I'll take care of it later. I'll be going.
Oh, well, good night.
You're up kind of late, Mrs. Starkweather.
Couldn't sleep. You?
Oh, I'm a real night owl. Besides, I was hoping young Simon Starkweather would show up. I haven't met him yet.
Oh, he is such a sweet boy. You'll love Simon. But I do hope he's okay in this weather and all.
He might have pulled up the road to let it pass. It's starting to cloud over again. We could be in for another deluge.
Oh, I hope not. Well, I'll better get some rest then.
Good night again, Mrs. Starkweather.
Good night, Mr. Davis.
I'm coming, Mr. Starkweather. Oh, you're still here.
Yeah, just keeping an eye on things.
Well, my patient.
You're up to, Mr. Davis?
Yeah, and it seems like I'm not the only one. There seems to be more traffic passing through Starkweather Mansion at midnight than goes down the interstate at rush hour.
I know what you mean. I've been hearing footsteps go past my bedroom door all evening. I'm not surprised though. We could have guessed that Mr. Starkweather's announcement would have given his heirs a sleepless night or two.
Between us, Miss Von Zahn, this floating business, how do you feel about it?
I'm paid to think, Mr. Davis, not to feel. Can Mr. Starkweather be cloned? Definitely. There's no question about it. The technology exists. Should he be cloned? Well, let's just say I would test nature by creating another Louis Stanton.
Me too. I'm a simple guy. I've got enough to deal with in one lifetime. The sooner we get this will signed and I can get back to the real world, the better.
The will is finished. You can sign it first thing in the morning.
The old boy's still awake. That nurse was in here a few minutes ago. I heard him ringing his bell for her.
Well, in that case, there's no reason you can't sign it right now.
That's what I'm thinking. The people in this house are as tense as a bunch of long-tailed cats in a room full of rocking chairs. I know I feel better once the boss's plan is a done deal.
Well, why don't you go up to my room and get the will, and I'll let Mr. Starkweather know we're ready for him? What in the world?
Circuit breaker must have tripped.
But the storm passed hours ago.
I know. I don't like this. I don't like this at all. I'll find Bensonhurst and have him show me where the main breaker is. Tools of the trade.
It's all right, Mr. Starkweather. I'm coming. Mr. Starkweather. Mr. Starkweather. Hello? Is anyone there? There's Withers? This is Trent? Anybody? I think something's wrong with Mr. Starkweather. I don't know where that nurse is. Oh no, he hasn't said hello yet, has he? No. Maybe he just fainted.
What happened? Someone struck me.
It's Mr. Starkweather. Help him.
What's the question?
What's
I heard a
happening?
scream.
What's happening?
I heard a scream. What's going on?
What's the dealio?
He's dead.
Like permanent?
Yes, permanently.
Just asking.
Someone put a pressure cuff around his neck. He pumped it to the maximum, 300 milligrams of mercury. Mr. Starkweather has been strangled to death.
Poor Mr. Starkweather. Who could have done such a thing?
Give me a break. I'd say you and nearly everyone else in this room are right up there on the top 10 list. Let me check the body.
Those drops on his robe. Are those blood?
I'm not sure.
What else could they be?
I'll handle it. I'm the detective. Remember? What did you tell us, Miss Withers?
After I brought Mr. Starkweather the pitcher of water and made sure he was breathing all right, I went into my room to go lay down. Then the lights went out. I went to go light my candle, and then someone struck me with a heavy object. I must have blacked out because when I came out, the lights were on, and Mr. Starkweather.
Yeah? We can take it from there.
You seem to be in charge, Mr. Davis. What do we do now?
We keep trying the phones until we can get through to the police. If the lines aren't up by morning, someone will have to drive into town and report there's been a murder at Starkweather Mansion.
Murder.
Alright, I have a theory of what might have happened.
That should be good.
What if the old man did himself in?
Roof open.
Oh, young Mr. Starkweather, you finally arrived. And guess what? We got a big surprise for you.
Wasn't that the most diabolical murder you've ever seen? The way Mr. Sick John might work us. No matter if you're a little crazy. Now remember, for the second act, during the commission, we need you to vote for the character you believe murdered Simon Starkweather. Now, see you in 15 minutes, everyone. Wait, turn the lights back up. Folks, I need to make sure the cast knew who was the murderer at tonight's performance. They needed to know what actions or clues they needed to have. Come on, cast. Well, I needed to make sure you knew this, and you all can continue to play armchair detective at tonight's performance. Well, enjoy the conclusion of Murders in the Air.
Okay.
Dead. I can't believe grandfather's dead.
Well, he is.
He's the deadest person
Bensonhurst and I were talking about the degrees of dead earlier, and
Mother, please. And he was murdered?
There's no doubt about it. You saw the body.
If I only got him here sooner, maybe Grandfather...
How do we know you didn't get here sooner?
What?
For all we know, you could have arrived hours, parked your car out of sight, slipped into the house, and killed the lights moments before you killed Simon Starkweather.
That's ridiculous. Why would I kill him?
I'd say a third of a $50 billion fortune is a pretty good reason to knock somebody off. Mr. Starkweather had signed that new will.
I didn't know about that new will. I wasn't there when Grandfather revealed that crazy cloning scheme to the rest of you.
It would have been easy enough to hide outside the French doors and eavesdrop on the conversation.
I wasn't hiding. I was expected. Like I told you.
Tell me again.
All right. I had to creep at a snail's pace down the old country road from town. The rain was lashing at my windshield so hard I could barely see. The wind was snapping branches off of trees and hurling them against the car. It was like driving through a hurricane. When I came to the bridge that spans across the stream that flows around the estate, I had to stop. The bridge had collapsed due to the stream turning into a raging river. When I got... what was it? I think I remember a place from there, about a mile ago, where a dead tree trunk fell several years ago. I used to play on it when I was a kid. Well, anyways, I managed to find it, and it was practically submerged. Somehow I managed to walk across it. When I got here, apparently Grandfather was already murdered.
That's a good story, but it sounds rehearsed.
Not nearly enough! It's the truth, I swear.
Maybe, but I'm still not crossing you off my suspect list.
Well, who else is on your list, Mr. Davis?
Everyone in this house except Miss Von Zont and Miss Collins. They had a heck of a lot to gain if your grandfather had lived only a few more minutes. As it turns out, they're left out in the cold.
Especially me. Lois has other clients, and now I'm among the unemployed.
I assure you, once the estate is settled, you'll be given a generous severance check.
Take it out your portion. Mother and I will pass.
So will I. It's nothing personal, of course, Kathy.
Of course.
Well, Mr. Davis, what do we do now?
The way I see it, we all sit tight until daybreak. Then, I'll have you show me the way to your car and drive me into town. I'll report what I know to the police, and we'll notify them that the bridge is out. My guess is the cops will fly in by helicopter. They'll need to get the body to the coroner's office, examine the crime scene, and take your statements. Once a homicide detective is assigned to the case, I'm out of here.
But you're a detective, and you were there when the murder occurred. You have a better chance of solving this than anyone else.
Sorry, but now that Mr. Starkweather's dead, I'm off the payroll. Once I give the big boys my statement, I'm finished.
Look, I'll pay you. I won't get my portion until I get the inheritance. But if you're willing to say
You're on, kid. I figure you're good for the dough. Incidentally, that offer has dropped you to the bottom of the suspects list. Well, I might as well start earning my salary.
How can we help, Mr. Davis?
First, I want to question all of you as to your whereabouts when Mr. Starkweather was murdered.
Establish everyone's alibis.
Yeah. Also, I'll need to know anything all of you and the staff might have seen or heard during the last few hours that might lead us to discover the killer's identity.
Clues.
You got it! Motives, alibis, and clues. That's what a detective has to work with. The motives, in this case, are obvious. The other elements aren't yet. But hopefully they will be by the time I'm finished.
That sounds like a good plan. Well, Mr. Davis, who do you want to start with?
Since you're paying the freight, call me Mike. How about you, Miss Thompson?
Oh,
Do
me?
you mind going first?
Oh, well, I'm awfully tired, but I have to.
Paula, you don't have to.
Oh,
None of us have to.
What do you mean, dear?
I mean, Davis isn't a police officer. We don't have to tell him the time of day.
You're right, Jordan. But why would you refuse to cooperate? Unless if you got something to hide.
Now look here, Simon. Don't start accusing me of murder unless you can prove it.
Simon has a point. Do you want me to tell the cops everyone cooperated except you?
Fine, I'll answer your dumb questions. But first, I'm taking Mother up to lie down. She's getting up in age and needs her rest.
Thank you, dear. I'm no spring chicken, but I'm definitely not Miss Methuselah either.
Oh, Mother, are you okay? Do you need your digitalis?
No, but if I do, I think I left some under the sofa earlier. There's a...
Oh, Mother, careful.
I had an accident with the pill bottle earlier.
Come on, Mother, let's go to bed. You can call when you're ready for us, Davis.
Well, I assume you want to question everyone in private. Kathy, you can join me in my room if you'd like. We'd have to go over the old will since it will remain the official one.
Sure, Lois. Excuse us.
I would like to stay. Hearing everyone's statement will give a clearer picture of what happened here tonight.
You're the boss now. I'm particularly interested in what happened between the time Mr. Starkweather announced he was changing his will and the time his body was discovered.
How long was that?
Several hours? Well, Miss Thompson, did you observe anything which occurred in that time frame that might help us?
well, I was awfully disappointed about Grandpa Simon's announcement, as you might well have guessed. I would understand if you would want to clone Ryan Reynolds or some other celebrity, but Great Uncle Simon? No offense, Cousin Simon, but your grandfather wasn't a good man. See, I spent most of the time in my room, except when I left for a little errand. Yeah, and I was standing outside that kitchen when I heard Minerva and that cute little maid Nancy talking.
What's the matter with you, girl? You haven't heard a word I've said.
I'm sorry, Minerva. I'm just confused.
Confused? About what? Has that no good scamp Jordan been bothering you?
Jordan? I mean, Mr. Starkweather. What makes you think that?
When I walked in on the two of you, you were standing mighty close together. Real lovey-dovey like. What could he possibly have been saying to you?
I think he wanted me to
To do something you didn't want to do?
Yes, but I promise it's not what you're thinking.
I'll bet. If that boy tries anything, I'll cut him down to size.
Minerva, no! He's not interested in me anymore. I heard him with the Collins girl and...
Ah, I see. When you lost $1 million, he lost interest in you. The boy's following the money straight to the Collins girl, isn't he?
Well, I heard him propose
proposed to her, but she turned him down and later laughed about it with her friend Miss Von Song.
Serves him right, the lazy bum. Don't call him that. Well, you are still hung up on him. Don't be a fool, Nancy. Jordan will just use you and leave you like he's done with a dozen other girls.
Well, if Mr. Starkweather hadn't changed his will, Jordan would be free to...
Free to do what?
nothing. If we're finished here, I'd really like to go to my room now.
Go on. Nancy,
Yes, Minerva?
lock your door.
Excuse me a minute. That little dialogue showed a flashback that Paula overheard between Minerva and Nancy right before the murder. Zach, come on. Be mature. Right before the murder of Simon Starkweather. I wanted to get that point across because there's going to be several other scenes that are a flashback. Well, carry on, I guess.
That man over there is really asking for it.
So Miss Tran, tell me, did you see or hear anything suspicious that might lead us to discover the killer's identity?
Suspicious? Well, I suppose if you call holding a slingshot around the house suspicious, even though Mr. Starkweather was stoned to death.
A slingshot? Phyllis.
Who had a slingshot?
Who?
Paula Thompson, that's who. She claimed she's a little regular Annie Oakley, and she claimed how easy it would be for someone to come through those French doors and kill Mr. Starkweather.
Did she now?
Ask for yourself.
Anything else?
I did happen to hear a rather odd conversation between Rufus and Mrs. Starkweather. I had just gone upstairs to distribute candles to everyone in case of another outage, which turned out to be quite useful, as you know. I was going to turn the corridor onto the west wing when I saw Mrs. Starkweather near the far end of the stairs.
Oh, do I have enough? Oh dear.
Miss Starkweather.
Rufus! You nearly scared a huge growth out of me!
Oh, that's all right. We do all our going outwards anyway, don't we?
I certainly hope not. What are you doing with the television? It doesn't look portable.
Well, it's out. You see, the TV set in my room is broken. Color, I mean. Seems like every single channel is green. X-Files is green. That 70s show is green. Beavis and Butthead is green. Seems like every channel is starring Kermit the Frog.
Oh, how disconcerting.
Yeah, you can say that again. Those breath mints, I wouldn't mind if you. I can still taste the crap when I never cooked for supper.
Breath mints? What are you... These? Oh, no, Rufus, you mustn't have any of these. They're pills for my heart, and if you had any of them, you would die.
In that case, I'll pass.
Good.
What would you put on the death certificate? Cause of death. Bad breath.
This is not a laughing matter! Listen, I'll be careful with them. You see, I need these pills. They're mine to have. No one else's.
Max in the house?
Yes, he had been instructed to go chop some firewood.
I'm surprised you trust him with an axe.
Oh no, I wouldn't trust him with a butter knife. But it was Mr. Starkweather's orders.
Was there anything else of interest you happened to notice?
Why, yes, young Jordan had been attempting to get into Mr. Starkweather's room, but when he was trying to get in, Miss Withers had walked in on him trying to enter, and so he looked quite perturbed.
Well, what do you want?
I was just gonna go check on Grandma's assignment.
No need. That's what I'm paid to do.
How is he?
Still breathing if that's what you're wondering about.
How long do you think he has left?
Let's just say he needn't start reading any long novels. Or even a short story.
But do you think he'll make it through the night?
I think your uncle will keep his heart beating out of sheer determination. Long enough to sign that new will. That is what you want to know, isn't it?
You misjudged me, Miss Withers.
Give it a rest, Jordan. You'd love to see your uncle drop dead, just like everyone else in this house.
So would you. $1 million is a fortune. Some people would kill for that money.
If that's a hint, forget it. As Mr. Starkweather's nurse, I'd be a prime suspect if I was anything but natural.
Suspecting and proving are two different things.
I'm gonna forget you said that. Good night, Jordan. Yes, it is true that Jordan Starkweather did hint that I was in position to end his great uncle's life. I assume Bensonhurst told you I refused?
He did, but you could have changed your mind.
And killed him with a pressure cuff? That would be foolish and hardly what you'd call natural.
I agree. The manner by which he was murdered makes no sense at all. Whoever did it.
It's as if the killer was blowing the deeds in our faces.
Why would they do that?
That's a good question. Tell me, Miss Withers, if you had to pick a likely suspect to be our murderer, who would it be?
Off the record? That Thompson girl, his great niece, is too goody-goody for my taste. Those southern girls can put on a charm, but Scarlett O'Hare was pretty ruthless when you got down to it.
We heard Cousin Paula had a slingshot on her.
See what I mean? I dare say she and Jordan were desperate enough to get their hands on Mr. Starkweather's billions. I overheard them talking earlier this evening. It was after Ms. Van Zandt's announcement. They didn't notice me by the corridor.
Well, what are we going to do?
Do? What can we do? It's out of our hands now.
That money is rightfully ours. There's got to be a way to get it.
You know what, Paula? I was thinking, what if we have Grandma's sermon declared as insane?
Hilarious, but it won't work. See, if Clona had been some crazy evil scheme or some stupid idea, it could work. But it's not crazy. It's been done. And as crazy as it does sound, Great Uncle Simon was the first person to become his own heir. We'd lose our case.
You're right, Paula. And probably spend the very little money we're going to inherit on lawyers.
Like that Miss Van Zant, she...
Well, Paula, what is it? What are you thinking?
I'm thinking. If you can't beat 'em, join 'em.
What?
I just found a way to get Miss Van Zant on my team.
Okay, what is it?
what you call a romantic proposal, more of a business suggestion.
Well, what did Jordan have to offer you?
Himself, in my opinion, that money hunt, or that fortune hunter is worth 2 cents.
Then you did turn him down.
Jordan is attractive in a smarmy sort of way, but any woman who would marry him is a fool. Believe me, Mike, I'm no fool.
I gathered that from the time we started working together.
Well, what gave you the idea to become the host mother for grandfather?
Let me tell you something, Simon. When Mr. Starkweather got the idea to clone himself in his head, there's no word to change his mind. He's going to find a host mother anywhere. It has very well up
I don't mind the business side of it. I just thought the whole idea was creepy.
You're taking it a lot better than the other fairs did.
For example,
Paula, she hadn't given up the idea of getting her hands on that money.
how do you know?
I was in Lois's room when she knocked on the door. She asked Lois to go into the hallway to have a private conversation, but they didn't shut the door all the way, so I couldn't help but eavesdrop.
We're very busy, Miss Thompson. Preparing that new will, aren't you?
Yes.
Now, Miss Van Zandt, you're a lawyer. Can't lawyers be disbarred for doing something illegal?
The process will be performed in Belgium. Our laws don't apply there, like we told you.
Now, what about ethics? Can't lawyers get their license taken if they're doing something unethical?
What's your point?
My point is, I want in on this deal. You can pay me whatever from the baby's trust fund to be his nanny, or whatever. You know, I don't care what you name the position. But if you refuse, I have to report you to the Bar Association. Ain't that what you call it?
It is. Let me give you a little free legal advice, Miss Thompson. If you make any accusations against me before the cloning procedure is successfully completed, I'll sue you for the $50,000 you're due to receive and everything else you own. And I'll get it. In the second place, I'm planning to close down my office once the baby is born, so it doesn't matter in the least if I get disbarred. You don't have to be a lawyer to administer an estate. Anyone can do it.
Oh.
So you see, young lady, your threats are meaningless. In fact, as an officer of the court, I should report you for your feeble attempt at extortion to the police. Say it! Take your silly little southern self out of my sight, and I might be willing to forget it.
Fine, you liar!
Excuse me.
Yes, Miss Trent.
I had found those left of the candles stowed away from Christmas last year. I figured it'd be a good idea to pass them out in case of another outage. I suggest you keep some in a few candles with matches nearby. Okay. That was very thoughtful of you. Thank you. Miss Thompson?
All right, fine. But there's something in my room I have to get.
What's the matter with her? Let's just say Miss Thompson is a poor loser. She played her ace, and I trumped it. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to take these to Kathy.
What I was thinking?
If I remember correctly, When Kathy Collins saw Mr. Starkweather's body and screamed, you ran in the front door. What had you been doing outside, Rufus?
Was I outside? Yep, yes I was. See, the TV said my room was broken and...
We know why, Rufus.
You do? News sure travels fast around here.
Everyone on your screen was green.
Yeah. Looks like Mars had attacked or something. So, when I set up my new TV, the picture didn't come in quite right. So, it looked like everyone was as fuzzy as a woolly worm. So, thought I might go and turn the antenna back.
On the roof.
Well, it wouldn't do much good to put it in the basement, would it? And I was about to go grab the tall ladder out of the shed when I heard the gal scream bloody murder. Well, murder, even if it ain't bloody.
Earlier tonight, did you see or hear anything outside?
I saw an owl and heard a couple bullfrogs.
I meant humans.
Oh. Yeah, I saw Jordan on the patio while I was coming in. Don't know what he was doing out there.
Earlier tonight, Rufus, did you hear anyone talking about the new will?
Well, who didn't? That was all Banzers and Minerva were talking about.
What were they saying?
They were talking about how it ain't fair and how they were working for Mr. Starkweather all these years. Now they should have gotten their million. Me, I was fine with my 50 grand. It would have bought me a new TV set. And maybe even two.
Bensonhurst and Minerva!
Oh yeah, right. Well, you see, the more Minerva thought about it, the madder she got. That woman's got a temper. She was about to storm into Mrs. Starkweather's room to give her a piece of her mind.
You must not go in there!
Oh yeah? And who's gonna stop me?
I shall if necessary.
You and what army?
Look, Minerva, I understand that we have been wronged in a massive way, but confrontation is not the answer.
Oh yeah? Then what is?
Look, the will hasn't been signed yet. Maybe Mr. Starkweather will change his mind in the morning.
We should live so long.
No, he shall live so long.
So, what were you doing outside about the time of the murder, Mr. Starkweather?
Just getting a breath of fresh air. Anything wrong with that?
Not if you remained outside.
What do you mean?
When I made a cursory examination of the crime scene, I noticed that Miss Withers had left the window raised a couple inches to let in some of the fresh air. Anyone could have climbed in.
Are you accusing me of killing great Uncle Simon?
Calm down, Mr. Starkweather. I'm not accusing anybody. Yet.
Besides, from what we've heard, making someone doing your bidding is more your style.
Who told you that?
I'll ask the questions if you don't mind. I repeat, what were you doing outside?
Fine. Me and Kathy had an argument, and I blew up. I went outside to cool off. That's all. Or has someone else already told you that?
I question, you answer. Remember? Let me ask you this. If you didn't murder Mr. Starkweather, who do you think did?
Look, I'm not saying she did it, but have you talked to that little maid, Nancy?
Why her, Jordan?
The girl has a crush on me. I I mean, I work with ladies a lot, but I did nothing to lead her on. I know she was upset about that new will. I was walking around the mansion and was outside the kitchen corridor when I heard Nancy talking with Miss Withers.
Can I do something for you, Miss Withers?
No need. I just need to get water for Mr. Starkweather. I got it.
That poor man, when he had the attack in the living room right here, I realized what you meant when you said the slightest shock could prove to be fatal.
Exactly.
Fatal. His bell.
You'll excuse me?
Yes, we wouldn't want anything to happen to him, would we? I was glad to hear Mr. Starkweather had even included me in his will. I thought he hadn't noticed me.
Then you must have received two surprises. To hear you'd inherit $1 million, and then immediately discover it was being taken away.
Well, 3 surprises actually. Now you're wealthy again.
I was glad to hear your grandfather was leaving me even $50,000. With that, I could go to college and get a good education like you.
Well, now that you're wealthy, what do you plan on doing?
I'm not really sure. I haven't been thinking about myself much lately.
Who has been on your mind, Nancy? Jordan Starkweather, perhaps. You're very fond of him, aren't you?
Who told you that?
Jordan himself. He said that you're even willing to kill for him.
He said what? How could he say such a thing?
I'm sorry to hurt your feelings, Nancy, but Jordan is out for himself. He is willing to trample over anyone who gets in his way.
I guess I knew that. Minerva tried to warn me. And I heard him propose to Miss Collins, but she turned him down and later laughed about it with her friend Miss Bonzon. You may think Jordan is cold-hearted, but Miss Collins is just as bad as he is.
Can you believe those so glances? Those eyes may work on that young maid like Nancy, but not me.
I wish I had been there to see it. It's time Jordan met his match. I could tell Nancy about all the other maids that worked here before her, but it's okay. Jordan's Playboy days are coming to an end soon enough.
What do you mean by that?
Well, once Mr. Starkweather passes on, those $50,000 that Jordan, Fiona, Paula, Simon have been given are going to be the last they get of the fortune, and they're going to have to know what it's like to work for a living.
Simon's almost out of school. He'll be fine. But the others? Can you imagine Paula behind the desk as at a car rental?
Or Jordan driving out cars out of the lot for customers.
What will Fiona do? So Avon?
Oh my God, you're horrible.
I know.
Could I get you anything? A cup of water, perhaps?
Oh no, I'm fine, Simon. And Mr. Davis, whatever you think happened, oh dear, what did happen to Uncle Simon? Just know that my son had nothing to do with it. He was with me all night in my room.
You know that can't be true, Mrs. Starkweather. Your son told us himself he went outside. And I saw you in here earlier tonight with Bensonhurst and Miss Withers.
Right. Well, then maybe it was last night you sat with me.
Maybe it was.
This is why Jessica Fletcher never believed the suspects in murder she wrote. It's so easy to get confused.
Concentrate on tonight, Mrs. Starkweather. Do you recall seeing anything suspicious?
Suspicious. Was down to the kitchen, but then I was walking past the secretary's door. And they were talking kind of loud, so I couldn't help but overhear the housekeeper and her inside talking.
What are you doing in my room, Mrs. Trent? I was checking the guest rooms to make sure there are extra blankets in each. I suppose you're very pleased with yourself, Miss Collins. What do you mean by that? It all worked out just as you planned. I don't know what you mean. I think you do. I understand now why you had all those magazines just laying around where Mrs. Starkweather would see them. You've been doing it for months. What magazines? Don't play dumb, Miss Collins. All those scientific journals and magazines, I've seen them. And they all have one thing in common. They are all articles about cloning. You planted the idea in Mr. Starkweather's head to clone himself. So what? There's no laws against sharing ideas, are there? I guess your lawyer friend would agree since you're in this together, but that doesn't make it right. I think what you're planning on doing is hideous. I couldn't care less about what you think. Get out! Starting to give orders already, are you? I'll leave. But remember this, young woman, you're not the queen bee yet. And you won't be until Mr. Starkweather's name is on that dotted line, assuming that ever happens!
I heard about Mrs. Trent's accusations to Kathy that she engineered the cloning business, possibly with my help. Miss Starkweather recalled the conversation accurately, which is somewhat of a surprise.
Well, is it true? Did you give grandfather the cloning scheme?
I don't think that's relevant to the case, Simon, and even if I did, I'm not breaking any laws. Isn't that right, Mr. Davis?
No laws that I can think of.
So, shouldn't we focus on the law that was broken? I'm referring to murder, of course.
You're right as usual, Miss Fonson. Can you volunteer any additional information that might help us?
Now that you mention it, it was apparent that me and Kathy were going to be staying up late working on the new will, so I thought I'd go to the kitchen and ask Minerva for some coffee. But Minerva wasn't there. It was Rufus and Fiona, and their conversation was so peculiar. Oh my goodness, Rufus! What are you doing with that axe?
Oh, I brought it in from the wood pile, sharpened it up real nice, dried it off. Wanna see?
Goodness, no! Put that thing away!
Yeah, maybe I should. Or kill someone. Maybe even kill someone.
That is a horrible thought.
Yeah, I get those sometimes. Don't you? Oh, I see you got your little poison pill there.
Excuse me? Digitalis is not a poison. It is a stimulant. All it does is just calms down my heart rate.
You had a lot more when I saw you upstairs. Oops! Hope you haven't got an overdose. Think I can practice some of that mouth to mouth.
You bring those lips any closer to mine, and I'll take that axe out of your hand and chop them off myself.
Sorry, just trying to help.
Well, don't. Some fates are worse than death.
You needed something in the kitchen?
Well, I was going to see if Minerva left any of those delicious appetizers from earlier.
Talking about Minerva, you shouldn't be leaving those around. You know, Minerva cooks Mr. Starkweather's food.
What are you trying to suggest?
Oh, nothing. I mean, I can look for you.
Never mind. I lost my appetite with you.
Mr. Starkweather's meals. What do you want to know about them?
Who did he dine with? Did he eat the same food as everyone else?
Mr. Starkweather was on a very restricted diet. Low salt, low fat. I had to prepare his meals separately. Why do you want to know about the food? You think there's something wrong with my cooking?
You're a great cook, Minerva! The leg of lamb you served tonight was wonderful!
Well, I am often told I have terrific legs. So what's the problem?
Forget it. I told you everything I need to know. Changing the subject. Do you remember who gathered in the kitchen when the lights went out? Before I got there, I mean.
The blackout? Let me think. I was in the pantry preparing for breakfast when all of a sudden it went dark. It took me a moment to get the candle and striking out of my pocket and light it.
Nancy, Minerva, is everyone all right?
I'm here. I was out back when I saw the light gun out in here.
I was in my room when everything went dark. What happened?
Business, you have to pay the light bill.
Keep that up, and I'll forget to pay your wages, too.
What in blazes is going on?
Apparently, the storm knocked the power out. My candles did come in handy, you see.
Remind me to give you a gold star later. Bensonhurst! Can't you get the electricity back on?
That's exactly what I came to find out.
Well, the circuit breaker's over there.
I hope they hurry. I do not like the dark.
Is that quick enough for you?
What is this idiot doing in here? He got water all over my clean floor!
Why Mrs. Starkweather doesn't fire him, I'll never know.
Well, did you find anything?
Yeah, it was there all right. It should be enough to pinpoint our murderer. I wish I had more. It could take weeks to get the results. If the will is probated and the killer gets his or her inheritance before them, they could disappear for good. You can buy a new identity easily enough for a few $1 million or more. There must be some way I can nab the guilty party tonight. I wish we found something more by questioning the suspects. Me too. They were all so focused on trying to make each other look guilty, they didn't reveal much about themselves. Sometimes the slide. Simon, move your feet. What is it? Right here on the floor. Where is it? There. I think it's. Yes! What they were doing was so insignificant. I barely noticed at the time. Simon! I know who murdered your grandfather. You do? I'll tell everyone as soon as I gather the evidence. Quick, go tell Bensonhurst. I need to see everybody in here immediately.
You got it.
Minerva sent me in here to see if you two would like a pot of coffee.
Go grab the others. Not much time.
I don't think the police chief will mind if I use sandwich bags to gather the evidence. I don't think he'll mind at all.
What's going on? What's going on?
Calm down, everybody.
So are we.
Please, take a seat.
I'm tired of this.
Why, Mr. Davis, it's awfully late, or awfully early, depending on how you look at it. Why would you like to see us at this ungodly hour?
It's been a knowing who murdered Simon Starkweather.
You mean you discovered who killed great Uncle Simon?
I'm pretty sure I have, as I'm going to show you in the next few minutes.
How did you figure it out, Mike?
First, I find the answer to a question that had bothered me from the beginning. It would have been so easy to make it appear that Mr. Starkweather died of natural causes, a suggestion Jordan Starkweather made to Miss Withers. For example, Mrs. Starkweather or her son would have given him some of her digitalis to trigger a heart attack.
No, we would never.
So could several others among you who were aware that she had them and had left several of them on the floor of this room, no doubt, when she spilt them earlier tonight. Miss Withers could have achieved the same results by injecting an air bubble into his bloodstream with a hypodermic needle. Again, any of you could have stolen a needle from her room and done the same thing. Also, it's highly probable that some of you considered frightening the old man to death. Minerva with her knife, Miss Thompson with her slingshot, Rufus with his axe, Bensonhurst with his wrench. Possibilities are endless. Why then would the murderer choose to put a blood pressure cuff around the victim's neck and inflate it until he strangled to death? And the answer is so simple. I feel foolish for not realizing what must have really happened.
Now, what might that be?
Obviously, when the cuff was put on the body, Mr. Starkweather was already dead!
What? Doesn't make any sense.
Am I right, Miss Von Zant?
Oh my God, I thought I could trust her.
You really are clever, Mr. Davis.
It had to have been you. We were in here together when the lights went out. Mr. Starkweather began to ring his bell. I went to find Bensonhurst, and you went to check on Mr. Starkweather. His killer must have murdered the man and slipped into Miss Withers' room seconds before you found the body.
Well, that's what I figured too. As our able detective here has surmised, the murderer had made it seem like he had died of a heart attack. The death seemed to have indeed been due to natural causes. There wasn't a doubt in my mind, however, that someone in this room had killed him. I knew that under the circumstances, the coroner wouldn't perform an autopsy, the police wouldn't conduct an investigation, and I wasn't about to let my employee's murder get away scot-free. I saw the blood pressure cuff on the bed. I inflated it, put it around his neck, and wheeled him into the room.
Your plan worked. No one would ever question the fact that Mr. Starkweather had been murdered.
And Mr. Simon hired Mr. Davis to solve the murder.
Which I have. That was very naughty of you, Miss Von Zant. For a while, your little ploy distracted me from the big picture. Instead of wondering who did it, I kept wondering, why did they do it that way? Once I solved that piece of the puzzle, the rest came easier.
Well, I'm sorry, Mr. Davis, but it seems if you have indeed found the killer, the ends have justified the means.
I imagine the police will also agree, and might even overlook the fact that you're guilty of tampering with evidence at the scene of the crime.
Well, if so, I know very good local judges.
Well, wait a second. How do we know that Miss Van Zandt didn't murder Great Uncle Simon herself?
no motive.
Yep, you're right.
Well, don't give us some sense tonight. Who did it?
I'll do better than that. I'll show you! Bear with me. I imagine all of you still have the candles Miss Trent distributed earlier tonight to keep with you in case of a blackout. Take them out, please, and light them.
Ooh, isn't this nice? Very Christmassy.
When I first examined Mr. Starkweather's body, I found what I first thought were a few drops of blood on his bathrobe. On closer inspection, they turned out to be another substance entirely. I forgot about them for the moment. As I was interrogating you all individually, I noticed one of you scraping one thumbnail against the other. At the time, I took it to be a nervous gesture. You could say it was nerves, triggered by guilt, as it turns out. I didn't understand the significance of this gesture until I remembered the nervous testimony. She reminded me of those of you who gathered in the kitchen with candles when the lights went out. A few moments ago, I noticed these on the floor of this room by the sofa, and I have the link I needed to identify the killer. Thin scrapings of red tallow. Tallow from the killer's thumbnail. Tallow that matched the red drops on Mr. Starkweather's body. Tallow from the red candle the murderer was holding when she killed Simon Starkweather. Tallow from the one red candle among you which you are holding, Minerva Walker!
There might have been other red candles.
There aren't. I remember thinking when we took them back for Christmas that we have to buy more red ones for next year.
Well, this can't be the only piece of evidence you have to offer the police. A candle?
No, Minerva, I have better proof than that. I just examined Mr. Starkweather's body. As I was moving about the room a few moments ago, I glanced at everyone's hands. I noticed there are several thin scratches on your wrist, made by Mr. Starkweather, no doubt, as he struggled for his life. I'll bet my reputation that these skin samples I was able to scrape from under his fingernail came from you. It would be easy enough to prove. I've met quite a few experts on DNA testing during the last 6 months.
I don't suppose you're considering taking those new skin samples and sticking the new me in prison. I didn't think so. Well, I guess my biggest mistake must have been trying to cross the lawyer. Huh, Miss Van Zant? I might have caused you to lose access to Mr. Starkweather's billions, but you certainly got your revenge.
Why don't you tell us what really happened?
I might as well. You already figured out the main details anyway. I was furious with Mr. Starkweather for building up our hopes and then dashing them into the ground. I thought a man like that didn't deserve to live. So, I waited at his door till I was sure he was alone. I slipped inside, found him sitting in his wheelchair, awake. I grabbed the handles of his wheelchair and leaned down into his face. I told him what he was planning to do was monstrous. I told him he didn't deserve to live. I told him I was going to kill him! Oh my God. He was terrified. He wheeled back into his wheelchair and knocked into his bedside table, causing his lamp to fall right on top of his water pitcher. When the water hit the lamp, it caused the circuit breaker to blow.
So, you didn't cause the blackout deliberately.
No. It nearly ruined everything! But I had the candle and matches in my pocket. I managed to light the candle with one hand while I grabbed the oxygen mask off his wheelchair with the other. I slammed it down hard over his mouth. He couldn't breathe. Of course. I don't know if he died of suffocation or a heart attack, but it was all over in seconds. The old man couldn't do much. He tried to fight back, but all he could manage was causing a few insignificant scratches on my wrist and caused me to drop some red candle wax on his robe while he rang that bell with the other. Old man tried, but he couldn't do much. But I guess it was enough to pin his murder on me.
Go on.
Go on. Then I slipped inside Miss Wither's room through the connecting door. Her back was to me, and she was still trying to light her candle. I grabbed a brass candlestick off her burrow and struck her with it. I guess that's when we were busy turning my apparent natural death into an apparent murder, Miss Van Zant. After Miss Collins screamed, I joined the rest of you as you ran in here.
I'm sure you were as shocked as everyone else when you saw the blood pressure cuff around the victim's neck.
I was, but what could I do? It was easy enough to figure out what Miss Van Zant had pulled. Oh, I would have loved to kill you too. But, I wouldn't dare try, of course. Until now! Oh my God! Nobody knew! I have nothing to lose!
Easy. You don't want to do anything you might regret.
Oh, it's too late for that advice, Mr. Davis. Get up! You're coming with me! Where can we go? The bridge washed out in the storm. I know where the tree Simon mentioned is. Simon, throw your keys on the table. I said the table!
You'll never get away.
Oh, all your phones are out, and your cars are all on the other side of the stream. It'll take you hours to reach me, and by then, I'll be long gone.
What about me?
You ruined my perfect murder! What do you think? Nothing if I can help it! Ah!
Are you okay? I'm fine.
Hold it right there!
You burned me! Consider it a preview of the afterlife.
I always keep these on me. You'll never know when cuffs will come in handy. Let's have them.
Mike, remind me to give you a big old bonus.
No problem. Well, you're going to spend a long, long time behind bars. What do you have to say for yourself?
Well, that's one good thing. Somebody else can come for a change!
Wait! Don't close the curtain. Mr. Culpepper,
Good grief, what's the matter?
this telegram is Plainfield. It says urgent.
I better read this. It's from Mr. St. John. He's just come from a drug-induced coma. Oh, this ending is just marvelous. These clues, action. Wow, we'll have to run the show again. Cat!